Hi there, this is Professor Eric Steinhart, and I am here to talk about Plotinus's theory of the fall of the soul. Plotinus says the soul is a divine being and dwells in more heavenly places, but has entered body. The soul is a minor god, a derivative aspect of the divine, but compelled by its powers and due to its tendency to bring order to whatever is beneath it, it penetrates to this lower sphere, the material world, in a voluntary plunge. If it turns back quickly, all is well. It will not be injured by acquiring the knowledge of evil and coming to understand sin. But the soul may dive too deep into matter and linger too long and get stuck. Now, the soul doesn't literally fall from some higher place to some lower place. The soul is not a physical thing. The soul falls, right, by projecting itself into matter, by seeing itself in a mirror. So the soul in itself is in a right self-relation to itself. The mind is awake. Your mind is awake. You are a pure form looking at yourself from the higher perspective. But as you look out from yourself and see yourself, your mind surrounded by disorder, which you seek to organize in order, a mirror image of yourself appears to yourself. A mirror image of the mind appears to itself. That mirror image appears in matter, which is a lower perspective, right? It's like a mirror on the floor that you see yourself in, and you're looking at yourself, and it becomes intoxicating. Plotinus says, just as Narcissus fell in love with his own image in the mirroring water, the mirror of Dionysus, and tried to kiss his own reflection, and fell into the water and drowned, so the souls of humans, seeing their images in the mirror of matter, have entered into the material world in a leap downward from the supreme. Yet even they are not cut off from their origin, from the divine mind. It is not that they have come bringing the intelligence down in their fall. It is though they have descended even to earth, yet their higher part holds forever above the heavens. This is what you look like after your soul falls. Your mind remains essentially in the right self-relation to itself. There's a part of you that remains awake. But you're also now obsessed with your mirror image, right? Your mind asleep. You've plunged into the water, right? You've fallen into matter, that mirroring matter, which Plotinus talks about as a mirror earlier, right? And it's this water. He talks about it as a water mirror earlier. You've plunged in, you've gained something. Your soul has emanated. It's manifested itself as this image. It's projected an image outside of itself. And that image is a dream image, a dream body, right? Your mind is asleep. It's now in the wrong relationship to itself. It has forgotten its divine nature and who it essentially is. You no longer remember your divine essence. You've been possessed by an intruder. Plotinus says, before we had our becoming here in the lower sphere, we existed in that higher sphere. People different than we are now, some of us gods. We were pure souls, pure minds filled with the knowledge of all reality, members of the divine mind. Not fenced off, not cut away, everything divine a part of us, and us a part of everything divine. Even now, it is true, we are not totally cut off from the divine, but upon that original human there has intruded another, a human seeking to come into being and finding us open, for we were not outside of the universe. This intruder has wound itself about us, foisting himself or herself upon the human that each of us was at first. Then, in the higher sphere, it was as if one voice sounded, one word was uttered, and from every side an ear attended and received, and there was an effective hearing, possessed through and through of what was present and active upon it. Now, in the lower sphere, we have lost that first simplicity. We have turned into the dual thing, that is, into a mind-body composite, sometimes indeed little more than a material body, with our original spiritual natures dormant, and in a sense no longer present. This is what you've become. when you have fallen. The essential part of you still remains in the right self-relation and awake, but you have produced in the mirror of yourself the intruder. The intruder is the mirror image of your soul. The intruder is your body. The intruder is the soul in the wrong self-relation. The intruder is the soul picturing it to itself as if it were material, and now everything is turned upside down and inside out. The fallen soul appears to itself as inside its body, and this is almost certainly how you think of yourself now if you think of yourself as having a soul. Your soul's in your body, and your body is in the material world, which surrounds you and is real. This is the lower perspective. The soul's in the body, but souls are not physical. Souls cannot be inside of physical things. The soul in the body view is inverted. It's reflected, right? It's a flipped perspective. It is a false theory of the fallen soul. It's the way the fallen soul sees itself. In reality, the body is in the soul. Plotinus says, neither the soul entire nor any part of it may be considered to be within the body as in a space. Space is a container of body. It is the home of such things as consist of isolated parts, things therefore in which at no point is there an entirety. Now, the soul is not a body and is no more contained than containing. Plotinus continues, Plato, therefore, is wise when, in treating of the all, he puts the body in its soul, and not its soul in the body, and says that, while there is a region of that soul which contains body, there is another region to which body does not enter, certain powers, that is, with which the body has no concern. And what is true of the all soul is true of our souls too. The correct point of view is that the body is in the soul. The body is in the soul. In fact, the body is like a disease or illness or illusion within the soul. It is a contamination within the soul. It is dirt within the purity of the soul. It is noise within the order of the soul. It is distortion and perversion within the purity of the soul. Noise has crept into the soul. As the soul related to itself, its self-relation became corrupt, like a data file becoming corrupt. And that corruption is the body. Once you begin to see that your body is a corrupt part of your soul, you can begin to clean yourself up and ascend back to the divine. Thanks. That's Plotinus on the fall of the soul. This has been Professor Eric Steinhart.